What if the biggest regrets in life don't come from what you did, but from what you didn't do? Think about that for a moment. Most people believe regret is about making mistakes, but research and real-life stories tell us otherwise. At the very end, people don't lie awake haunted by the wrong decisions they made. They ache over the chances they never took, the words they never said, and the time they never valued until it was gone. In America, surveys reveal that over 70% of seniors list not spending enough time with loved ones as their greatest regret. Not money, not career, time. And here's the shocking truth. Many of us are still making those same mistakes today, right now, without even realizing it. So let me ask you, if tomorrow was your last day, what would hurt more, the failures you've had, or the dreams you left behind untouched? Would you regret chasing the wrong job? Or would you regret never starting that business you dreamed of? Would you regret the relationships that didn't work out, or regret not telling the people you love how much they meant to you? This video is your wake-up call. Today I'm going to share with you 7 life lessons you'll regret ignoring before it's too late. These lessons aren't theories, they're not abstract ideas. They are truths echoed by countless people looking back on their lives, wishing they had lived differently. And here's the thing, you still have time to learn from them now. These insights are about living a meaningful life, avoiding regrets, and embracing true purpose. It's about taking control of your story before the final chapter is written for you. So if you've ever caught yourself wondering, am I really living the life I want? Stay with me. What you're about to hear may just shift the way you see your time, your relationships, and even your own sense of meaning. Because the truth is, the clock is always ticking. And every moment you wait, you're gambling with the one thing you can never get back. Let's dive into the first life lesson, because once you hear this, you'll understand why ignoring it might be the greatest mistake of your life. Let's begin with the very first life lesson, and honestly, it might be the most important one of all. Value time over money. Now I know what you might be thinking. Money makes the world go round, right? It pays the bills, buys the house, keeps the lights on. And in America especially, we live in a culture that glorifies the hustle. Long hours, side hustles over time, climbing the corporate ladder, it's celebrated as a badge of honor. But here's the painful truth. Most people don't look back at the end of their lives wishing they worked more. They look back wishing they had truly lived more. A recent Gallup survey revealed something shocking. 76% of Americans admitted they wished they had spent more time with their families instead of at work. That's nearly 8 out of 10 people, and it cuts across every age group. Think about that. Decades of effort, stress, endless meetings, and in the end, the greatest regret isn't about not making enough money. It's about missing birthdays, missing dinners, missing those small but irreplaceable moments that make life meaningful. So let me ask you a question, one that might sting a little. Will your boss remember you in 20 years, or will your kids? The reality is, your job can replace you in 2 weeks, but your family can't replace you in a lifetime. And yet so many of us sacrifice time with loved ones on the altar of just one more project or just one more promotion. We think we're doing it for them, for the house, the car, the college fund. But what they really want is us. Our presence, our laughter, our love. I remember reading a story about a man who spent his entire career chasing financial success. He had everything big, house, luxury cars, investments. But on his deathbed, his son said something that broke him. "Dad, I wish I knew you better. All the wealth in the world couldn't buy back those lost years." That's the kind of regret you don't want to face. Now don't get me wrong, money is important. We need stability. But money is a tool, not the destination. Time, on the other hand, is your one non-renewable resource. You can always earn back $1, but you can never earn back an hour. And yet so many of us trade our hours, our health, our relationships, just to earn a little bit more. Let me give you a quick thought experiment. Imagine I handed you a check for $1 million, but in exchange, you lose 1 year of your life. Would you take it? Most people hesitate because deep down, we know time is priceless. So why do we keep living as if money is worth more? Here's the shift that changes everything when you begin to see time as your most valuable currency. You stop wasting it. You start asking better questions. Instead of, how can I make more money, you ask, how can I make more memories? Instead of, how can I work longer, you ask, how can I live better? Think about it. Your kids won't remember how much you earned, but they'll never forget the Saturday you spent building a treehouse with them. Your partner won't cherish the overtime hours you logged, but they'll hold on forever to the quiet evenings you spent together, laughing, talking, and being fully present. And let's not forget health. How many people grind themselves down for decades, only to spend their later years spending that hard-earned money trying to fix the health they sacrificed in the process? What's the point of building wealth if you're too sick, too tired, or too alone to enjoy it? So how do we live this lesson? Here are a few practical ideas. Start by protecting your time, like you protect your money. Schedule family nights, personal days, vacations, and treat them as non-negotiable. Learn to say no. Every yes you give to work to extra commitments is a no you're giving to yourself or your loved ones. Invest in experiences, not just things. Studies show that people who spend money on experiences report higher long-term happiness than those who spend it on possessions. A trip with family a day, volunteering a simple picnic, these create memories that last far longer than a paycheck. And finally, practice presence. You don't need endless hours, you just need quality. Even 30 minutes of undistracted connection is worth more than 3 hours where your mind is elsewhere. Remember, life isn't measured by your bank account, but by the moments that take your breath away. If you're watching this right now, maybe it's a sign to pause and ask yourself, am I truly valuing my time, or am I trading it away for something I can never keep? Because here's the sobering reality when your final day comes. No one wishes for one more meeting, one more email, one more paycheck. But they do wish for one more hug, one more laugh, one more chance to say, I love you. So let this be your reminder. Money may sustain your life, but time defines it. Choose wisely. And with that, we move to the next lesson, one that's just as powerful and maybe even more urgent. Because if time is priceless, then what you choose to do with it will shape the entire story of your life. The second life lesson is one that almost every study, every wise elder, and every person nearing the end of their life agrees on: relationships matter most. And this isn't just opinion, it's backed by science. The Harvard study of adult development, which followed people for more than 75 years, revealed a stunning truth. Close relationships keep us happier and healthier than money, fame, or success ever could. Think about that. Decades of data across generations all point to the same conclusion. At the end of the day, what makes life meaningful is not what we own, but who we have by our side. Yet, here's the tragedy. So many people still die with one haunting regret. They wish they had stayed more connected, loved more deeply, and been less afraid to show it. Let me ask you, if your last day came tomorrow, who would be sitting next to your bed? Would it be your colleagues? Your boss? Probably not. It would be your spouse, your children, your closest friends. And yet, how often do we sacrifice those very people for extra hours at the office, endless scrolling on a phone, or meaningless arguments that drive wedges between us? Loneliness, believe it or not, has become a silent epidemic in America. Studies show that feeling lonely can be as harmful to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Wrap your head around that. Loneliness is literally toxic to the body. It raises blood pressure, weakens the immune system, and shortens life expectancy. And still, millions of people slip into old age isolated and forgotten, surrounded by things, but not by love. I once read the story of an elderly woman who had built an incredible career. She was respected, admired, and financially secure. But in her final months, she confessed one heartbreaking truth. I built a life full of achievements, but empty of people. That's a regret no success can ever erase. So here's the question I want you to sit with. Are you investing more in your relationships or in your resume? Because the truth is, no one at your funeral will talk about how many hours you worked. They'll talk about the times you showed up, the times you cared, the times you made them feel seen and loved. And here's the good news. It doesn't take grand gestures to build meaningful connections. It takes presence. It takes consistency. A phone call to your parents, dinner with your kids where the phones stay off the table, asking your partner how their day really was, and listening. Small actions repeated over time create unbreakable bonds. But here's the hard part. Relationships require vulnerability. It means saying I'm sorry when you're wrong. It means forgiving even when your pride wants to hold on to the grudge. It means choosing love over being right. And let's be honest, sometimes that's harder than any business deal or financial hustle. Yet when people look back on their lives, they never say, I wish I held on to my anger longer. They say, I wish I had made peace. They never say, I wish I worked late every night. They say, I wish I had been at more family dinners. The Harvard researchers put it beautifully, loneliness kills. It's as powerful as smoking or alcoholism. But the good news is that good relationships protect. Protect not just our bodies, but our souls. So how do we live this lesson? Let me share a few ideas. Prioritize connection. The way you prioritize work. Schedule time for the people who matter. Put it in your calendar, because if you don't, life will fill that space with something else. Practice gratitude in relationships. Don't wait until someone is gone to say how much they meant to you. Say it now. Repair broken bridges. Maybe you have a friend you haven't spoken to in years. Maybe a sibling you drifted from. Reach out. Even a simple message can open the door. Be present. When you're with someone, really be there. Put down the phone. Look them in the eyes. Listen not just to reply, but to understand. Because here's the reality, when your time runs out, it won't be your possessions that comfort you. It will be the hand holding yours, the laughter that echoes in your memory, the love you gave and received. So let me ask you again, are you investing in the relationships that truly matter? Or are you gambling with the one thing that will determine whether your final years are filled with love or loneliness? If Lesson 1 taught us to value time over money, Lesson 2 is about deciding who you spend that precious time with. Because life is short, but it becomes infinitely richer when it's shared. And in the next lesson, we'll explore something equally vital, your health. Because without it, even the strongest relationships can only carry you so far. Lesson number 3 is one that we often ignore until it's almost too late. Health is wealth. You've heard this phrase before, but let's be honest, most of us don't live like we believe it. We chase money, promotions, deadlines, even social recognition, all while quietly sacrificing the very foundation that allows us to enjoy it, our health. Here's a sobering fact. 70% of adults in the United States are overweight or obese. 7 out of 10. That means The majority of us are living in bodies under stress, carrying extra weight that increases the risk of heart disease, diabetes, and countless other conditions. And yet so many people only realize the true cost of neglecting their health when illness has already arrived. There's a saying I want you to remember: if you don't make time for health today, you'll make time for illness tomorrow. And unfortunately, that's not just a clever quote, it's reality. Think about how much time people spend sitting in doctors' offices, waiting for prescriptions, scheduling surgeries, and recovering from preventable diseases. All those hours could have been invested in family passions, travel, joy. But instead, they're consumed by trying to repair damage that could have been avoided. Let me ask you this: when was the last time you prioritized your well-being over your to-do list? When was the last time you said no to overtime so you could go for a walk, cook a real meal, or simply rest? Too often, health gets pushed to the bottom of the list until suddenly it demands to be at the top. I remember hearing a story of a man who worked 14-hour days building his business. By 55, he was financially successful, but his body was failing him. Years of fast food stress and no exercise left him with heart disease. He told his doctor, "I sacrificed my health to gain wealth, and now I'm spending all my wealth to buy back my health." That's a regret none of us should carry. The truth is, your body is your greatest asset. Without health, even the richest life feels poor. What good is a dream vacation if you're too exhausted to enjoy it? What good is financial freedom if you're stuck in a hospital bed? Health gives you the energy to build memories, pursue passions, and live fully. So how do we begin to shift this? It doesn't require drastic overnight changes. It starts with small, consistent choices that add up over time. Move your body daily. Even a 20-minute walk has been proven to boost mood, improve heart health, and increase longevity. Fuel your body, don't just feed it. Choose whole foods, less sugar, more vegetables. Think of food as medicine or poison, you decide which. Sleep like it matters, because it does. Studies show that adults who consistently sleep fewer than 6 hours per night face a higher risk of early death. Sleep isn't lazy, it's repair. Manage stress. Chronic stress is like a slow-burning fire in your body. Mindfulness, meditation, prayer, or simply unplugging for a while can reset your system. Get regular checkups. Preventive care catches problems early, often before they become life-threatening. The hardest part, making these things a priority in a culture that glorifies busyness. But here's where perspective matters: your job, your money, even your goals. All of it becomes meaningless if you lose your ability to enjoy them. So I want to challenge you to reflect. Are you treating your body like a partner in your journey, or like a machine you're running into the ground? Because one day it will stop. And the scariest part is many illnesses don't come suddenly, they build slowly, silently, as the result of years of neglect. Imagine yourself decades from now, sitting in a doctor's office being told, if only you had taken care of yourself sooner. That's a regret too many people carry. But the beautiful thing is, you don't have to. You can start now. You can choose to see health as the true wealth. It is an investment that pays back in more years, more energy, more joy. And here's the mindset shift that changes everything. See exercise, good food, and rest not as chores, but as gifts. You're not punishing yourself. You're giving your future self the chance to live fully. When you choose a salad over fast food, when you choose a walk over another episode, when you choose to sleep instead of scrolling, it's not deprivation. It's investment. At the end of life, people don't wish they had made more money. They wish they had more time, more energy, more days to live. Health is what gives you those extra days. So let this lesson be a wake-up call. Don't wait for illness to force you into awareness. Don't wait for the doctor's warning or the hospital bed to remind you of what matters. Take action today, because every choice you make is shaping the health you'll carry into your future. Because in the end, health truly is wealth. And if you honor it now, you'll be rich in ways no bank account could ever provide. Up next, we'll explore a lesson that goes beyond the physical and dives deep into the meaning behind everything you do. Because what's life without purpose? Lesson number 4 is one that strikes right at the heart of modern life. Chase, meaning not approval. Let's be honest, how many of us live our days trying to keep up with expectations? Expectations from family, society, social media. In America, it's almost like a competition: who has the better job, the bigger house, the fancier vacations. And with platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, it's easier than ever to fall into the trap of living for likes instead of living with purpose. But here's the question you need to ask yourself. Are you living your life or someone else's? It's a tough question, but a necessary one. Because at the end of your life, people don't regret being authentic. They regret conforming. They regret chasing approval so hard that they never gave themselves permission to pursue what actually mattered to them. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." That's a profound reminder that life isn't about fitting into someone else's mold. It's about uncovering your own truth and having the courage to live it, even if others don't understand. Think about this. How many people choose a career not because they love it, but because it looks good on paper? How many people stay in relationships that drain them simply because they're afraid of what others will think if they walk away? How many of us silence our passions because they don't fit society's definition of success? I once heard the story of a lawyer who was making 6 figures a year but felt miserable every single day. His true passion was teaching music to kids. For years he pushed it aside because people told him it wasn't practical. But eventually, he took the leap. And you know what he said. He had never felt richer in his entire life, not financially, but spiritually. That's the difference between chasing approval and chasing meaning. Approval is temporary. It fades. You can post a picture, get 1,000 likes, and tomorrow it's forgotten. Meaning, on the other hand, stays. It gives you a reason to wake up every morning, a reason to push through challenges, a reason to smile, even when life gets hard. And here's the danger. If you live your life for approval, you'll always be chasing, but never arriving. There will always be someone with more money, more fame, more followers. The race never ends. But when you live for meaning, you create a life that feels whole, regardless of what anyone else thinks. So how do you begin to chase meaning over approval? Start by asking yourself questions that cut through the noise. What gives me energy instead of draining it? What would I do if nobody was watching, if nobody could judge me? If I had only 1 year left to live, what would I want to spend it on? These questions shift your focus from what do people expect of me to what do I expect of myself? It takes courage to walk this path. People might criticize you, misunderstand you, even laugh at you. But here's a truth worth holding on to. The people who mind don't matter, and the people who matter don't mind. The ones who truly care about you want to see you live authentically. And maybe the most important thing to remember is this: meaning doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't mean changing the world or becoming famous. It could simply mean raising a family with love, serving your community, creating art, teaching, building, healing, whatever resonates deeply with who you are. So let me ask you one more time. Are you living your life or someone else's script? Because one day you'll look back, and the applause you once chased will be gone. But the meaning you created, the lives you touched, the purpose you followed, that will remain. Don't trade your one precious life for approval that won't matter in the end. Instead, choose meaning. Because when you do, every day becomes a life well lived. And in our next lesson, we'll talk about something just as vital, taking risks, and why the biggest regret is often not what you did, but what you never dared to do. Lesson number 5 is one that separates those who live with freedom from those who live with regret. Take risks. Don't die with what-ifs. If you ask people at the end of their lives what they regret the most, you'll notice a pattern. It's rarely the mistakes they made, it's the chances they never took, the business they never started, the places they never traveled to, the words they never spoke, like, "I'm sorry" or "I love you." Those unsaid words, those untried dreams, they haunt people more than failure ever could. So let me ask you, what's your biggest what if? What's that one thing you've been carrying in your heart, but you've convinced yourself it's too late, too risky, too uncertain? I once heard the story of a woman who spent her entire career in a job she didn't love because it felt safe. She always dreamed of opening a bakery, but fear kept her chained to security. On her 80th birthday, someone asked her what she regretted most. She didn't hesitate. She said, "I regret never baking for the world." Imagine carrying that for a lifetime. Here's the thing, failure hurts for a moment, but regret lasts forever. If you start a business and it fails, you learn. If you confess your feelings and get rejected, you grow. If you travel and things don't go perfectly, you still have stories to tell. But if you never try, you're left with nothing but the endless echo of what if. And let's face it, many of us avoid risks because we want certainty. But life has never promised certainty. Whether you play it safe or take the leap, challenges will come. The difference is, risks often bring growth, while playing it safe brings comfort that slowly fades into regret. Think about how many people regret not traveling more. America is a country built on exploration, adventure, new beginnings. Yet so many people wait until retirement to travel, only to realize their health no longer allows it. Others regret not saying those 3 words, "I love you," when they had the chance. They waited, hesitated, assumed there would be another moment. But sometimes there isn't. Here's a truth worth remembering, and the pain of discipline or failure weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. So how do you start taking more risks in your life? Start small. You don't have to quit your job tomorrow. Begin with micro risks. Take a class, pitch your idea, speak up in that meeting. Build your courage like a muscle. Reframe failure. Failure isn't the opposite of success, it's part of it. Every successful person you admire has a trail of failures behind them. What they don't have are endless what-ifs. Say what you need to say. Don't wait for the perfect time, it doesn't exist. Whether it's appreciation, forgiveness, or love, speak it. People regret silence more than honesty. Live with curiosity. Instead of fearing the unknown, ask, what could this teach me? What could this open up for me? That mindset turns fear into opportunity. Because here's the reality, risks make life bigger. They expand your story. They give you chapters worth reading. And when you look back, you'll realize that the leaps you took, even the ones that didn't go as planned, are the ones that shaped you the most. So let me ask you again, what's the risk you've been avoiding? What's the dream you've been pushing aside? Because time isn't waiting, and neither should you. Don't reach the end of your life weighed down by the heavy burden of what-ifs. Instead, take the leap. Make the call, book the trip, say the words. Because in the end, you won't regret the risks you took, you'll only regret the ones you didn't. And in our next lesson, we'll explore something that's often overlooked, but just as transformative, the power of forgiveness. because letting go may just be the greatest risk and reward of them all. Lesson number 6 is one that many people resist, but it might be the most freeing of all. Forgive and let go. In America, we're taught to be strong, to stand our ground, to not let people get away with it. And while boundaries are important, holding on to anger often hurts us more than the person who hurt us. Studies even show that chronic resentment and stress can increase the risk of heart disease, high blood pressure, and depression. In other words, carrying grudges doesn't just weigh on your mind, it damages your body. Here's the truth. Forgiveness is not about excusing someone else's behavior. It's about releasing yourself from the chains of bitterness. Because every time you replay the betrayal, the insult, the injustice, you're reliving the pain. And who does that really punish? Not them. You. I once heard a story about a man who spent decades angry at his father for leaving when he was young. That anger shaped every decision in his life. But when he finally chose to forgive, not because his father deserved it, but because he himself deserved peace, his entire outlook changed. He said, "I thought forgiveness was setting him free. But it was me I set free." Think about your own life for a moment. Who are you still carrying inside your heart, not with love, but with resentment? What would happen if you decided to put that weight down? Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. It doesn't mean forgetting. It simply means refusing to let the past poison your present. It's an act of self-care, of reclaiming your energy. When you forgive, you're saying, "I choose peace over pain. I choose freedom over resentment." And here's a practical thought. Forgiveness doesn't have to happen all at once. Sometimes it's a process: writing a letter you never send, speaking your pain out loud, or even praying for the strength to release it. Step by step, the grip loosens. So let me ask you, what are you still holding on to that no longer serves you? Is the grudge worth your health, your joy, your peace of mind? Or is it time to finally set yourself free? Because at the end of life, no one says, "I wish I held on to my anger longer." They say, "I wish I had made peace." And that's the gift of forgiveness, not for them, but for you. In our final lesson, we'll explore the ultimate truth, living mindfully before it's too late. Because awareness isn't just a practice, it's a way to transform every moment of your life. And now we arrive at the final life lesson, one that ties everything together. Live mindfully before it's too late. So many of us spend our lives either trapped in the past, rehashing mistakes, replaying regrets, or lost in the future worrying about what might happen next. But here's the truth: the future is never promised. The present is all we truly own. Mindfulness isn't about sitting cross-legged in silence for hours, though meditation can help. It's about presence. It's about noticing the taste of your morning coffee, really listening when your child tells you a story, feeling the sunshine on your face during a walk. These simple moments are life. But too often we miss them because our minds are somewhere else. Think about it. How many dinners have you half experienced because you were scrolling on your phone? How many conversations did you miss because you were already thinking of what to say next? How many years slip by while we keep saying, "I'll be happy when..." But happiness doesn't live in someday. It lives in this day. Right here, right now. There's a saying in mindfulness teachings: don't miss your appointment with life. Because every moment you let pass without awareness is a piece of your life you'll never get back. So how can you start living more mindfully? Slow down. Even in a fast-paced world, you can choose to breathe, to notice. Be intentional. Before reacting, ask, is this aligned with the life I want to create? Practice gratitude. When you appreciate what's here, you stop chasing what's not. Living mindfully doesn't mean ignoring your goals or responsibilities. It means moving through life awake with clarity and purpose, instead of sleepwalking through your days. And when you reach the end of your journey, you won't regret missed opportunities to worry more. You'll regret the moments you didn't fully live. So let this final lesson be a reminder. Don't wait. Live with awareness. Live with purpose. Live with mindfulness. Because the present moment is not just passing, it's your life. So let's bring it all together. These 7 life lessons are not just advice for someday. They're not ideas to file away for later. They are a map for today, a way to live right now with clarity, purpose, and without regret. Because here's the truth. Life doesn't wait. Time doesn't pause. Every day you delay is a day you don't get back. So I want to ask you, which of these lessons hit you the hardest? Was it the reminder to value time over money, to nurture your relationships, to take care of your health? Or maybe it was the challenge to forgive, or to finally chase meaning instead of approval. And here's the most important part. Which one will you act on today? Not tomorrow, not someday. Today. Because transformation doesn't happen in the future. It starts with the decision you make in this very moment. Don't wait until it's too late. Start with one small change right now. Call someone you love. Take a walk. Say the words you've been holding back. Choose presence over distraction. Every step counts. If this video spoke to you, make sure to subscribe for more life lessons that help you avoid regrets and live with meaning. And if you want to go even deeper, watch the next video in this series where we explore Insert Next Lesson video link. Because your life is happening right now. Don't miss it.